before we start our introductions, I just wanted to mention, some of us were at a League of Minnesota Cities conference just a couple weeks ago, and we were so pleased that Dilworth City Administrator Peyton Mastero received the prestigious James F. Miller Award for his great work in his city. So I just wanted to take a minute and have you join me and yeah. Okay, let's start with having everybody on the committee introduce themselves. So I'll start to my left.
Julie Bommelman, Fargo Transit Director.
Mike Reese, Moorhead Assistant City Manager.
Jenica Flanagan, Moorhead Finance Director.
Karen Hake, MATBUS Marketing Manager.
Matt Valley, General Manager, Transit. Josh Gordon, Assistant General Manager, Transit.
Luke Bittner, City of Fargo Transit Plan.
Sean Kroll, Mobility Manager, City of Fargo Transit.
Jordan Smith, City of Fargo Transit.
Volkswagen, City of Fargo Transit, Assistant Transit
And
Director.
Onsted Bus Rider, Fixed Route, Senior Service, and I'm also part of the Senior Tsunami.
Adam Altenberg, Petrocog.
Aiden Young, MetroCog.
Hayden Mastero with the City of Dilworth.
All right, and if we can go to our folks online, do we just have one? Two.
Sebastian McDougall, City of Moorhead.
Now, do we have one other person online?
Oh, Cindy Girdner, I am the Transit Manager for Valley Senior Services. Could I ask you to turn up your volume? It's very hard to hear on the this side of the conversation.
Yeah, I wonder if we can move this down a little bit. And I am a professor in my real job, so can project, believe me, if I need to. So yes, let us know if you're having any other trouble, but I will try to speak a little more loudly, and we've moved it closer. And then if everybody can try to aim their voices towards, we have another speaker down there. Okay. We missing one?
Yeah.
Okay, am I correct? We don't currently have any City of Fargo. Okay, all right. Do we have any changes to the agenda? Nope. Any changes to the agenda? Nope. If not, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda and the contents of the meeting packet.
This is Peyton. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, everyone should have had a chance to read over the minutes from May 21st. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from May 21st?
I'll make the motion. Oh,
Thank you. I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Julie, do you want a second? Julie Bummelman seconds. Any further discussion? None. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? A motion carries. Okay, then moving on. Today we only have informational items, so nothing that we need to vote on. We'll start off with the triennial update, and I'll turn things over to Julie.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We just went through in June, the auditors were on site for what we refer to as the triennial. Every 3 years, FTA hires consultants to come in and go through anything and everything that we do during that previous 3-year period. And then they like to point out that it also includes anything up to the time that they are here for the review. So they require us to send them a bunch of data ahead of time. We do that. They do a desk review and then follow up with any questions and meetings. And then they are here in person and they go through 23 categories of information. Number 23 actually does not apply to us, the cybersecurity. It's only for recipients with rail, which right now we don't have. Who knows what the future will bring, right? But the categories are, I just did a list of them. Certainly happy to answer any questions about any details on any of those categories, but it's quite the process. They were here for 4 days. They did the Fargo review, and then they also did the Moorhead review. And many of us here at the table were part of the review. And we came out in the end with Fargo had one minor deficiency, which actually has already been corrected. and Moorhead came out with 0 deficiencies. So I can't overstate what a process it is, but we were quite pleased with the outcome. The reviewers were really good to work with. FTA was good to work with. And any questions you guys have, we'd be happy to answer. Pretty much every one of us was at the table during the process. So.
Okay, questions or comments?
Good job.
Well, I will just say I wanted to thank the staff. I know took a lot of time and a lot of details, and to have such clean reports for both of them. I think you said you'd never seen one as,
No, never.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's good.
so that's great, and just a testament to the good work that you're doing. So thank you.
They actually finished early too.
Really?
Yeah, we did. I forgot about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we did
Wow.
finish early. Yeah.
Yeah. They were impressed that they asked for something. We went, got it, bring it back, give it to them. They were impressed by that. So,
Yeah.
That's great.
yeah.
Don't tell them that, then they'll give you left.
I can't. Yeah, that's it. Oh, wait, don't.
Great. Okay, moving on to 2B, the MATBUS Transit Development Plan update. Julie.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. We are probably about 3/4 of the way through the transit development plan, the 5-year plan that we get consultants on board, and that is through MetroCog. So MetroCog is really the Adam and Ben are the driving force behind it, and we all know Aiden helps a lot too, so we don't want to lose any credit to anybody there. But basically, what they do is they look at all aspects of the operation. There's different public meetings, different public input. They've done some surveys. And we do have another study review committee session coming up in about a month. That will be the final one that we have. And there is an opportunity for public input that session that will be offered. So what they've come up with, we've received a draft report. They've come up with two scenarios, but they're also adding a scenario that will address some of the proposed changes for 2026 that the city of Fargo was looking for. So you will see those being identified in the service plan. The TDP recognizes the current financial constraints. Everybody is aware of the city of Fargo's financial constraints, but the long-term goal is to implement some of the recommendations coming out of the plan. And my personal goal would be to go the opposite direction and add all the service we need, but budget constraints dictate what we can and can't do. So there's not a lot other than the draft copy has come to us for comments. Those are due back today. And then there will be more information coming out after that. So.
Right. Are there questions or comments? Julie, I'll just mention a couple of things. I know I spoke with you about it. So just to emphasize too, that the proposal that we have would be cost neutral. So it wouldn't add any additional expenses if it were to be implemented. And then I know that you mentioned the possibility because of the city of Fargo's current financial difficulties that they may want to see near-term cuts. And I just think, again, reiterating that though, if those conversations are happening, that needs to be things that includes all of the partners, since it, if we are talking about cuts that, even if it has roots in Fargo, those are things that affect everybody, but things like cutting Sunday paratransit for folks that in some cases have no other means of getting places. I think that's a pretty serious issue and needs to be considered by everybody and not unilaterally by just one of the partners. And I do understand that they are having financial difficulties, but I think that we need to make sure that we're having open discussions about those.
Yes.
They're not here to talk about it, so
Yeah.
we'll listen to the recording, so.
Well, we did have meetings with the commissioners all day Monday. Each department had an opportunity to come in and talk to them. So it included administration from the city, all of the commissioners, Mayor Mahoney was there, the finance director, and every department had the opportunity to talk about what potential changes they could make. And during that, Cole and I went to that, we made it very clear that it needs to include all the partners, all the entities that are involved in our cost allocation plan and agreements, that we would all have to agree on it and what the impacts will be. So,
Thank you.
yes.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, well, moving right along to 2C, the North Dakota Legislative Study, Julie.
Oh, yes, thank you, Madam Chair. During the past legislative session, I worked with the 3 other urban transit executive directors in the state of North Dakota. So Grand Forks, Bismarck, Minot, and Fargo. And a local legislator in Fargo helps, well, he spearheaded this effort. So it was a lot of work, but it was very interesting. And we went out and testified different times and provided a lot of data to the legislators to make some decisions on giving more state aid to the 4 urbans in North Dakota. We were successful in getting $1 million per year for this biennium. So in 2025 and 26, or I'm sorry, 26 to 27, the additional funds of $424,000 each of those 2 years will come to Fargo. So the 1 million per year, Fargo's portion is 424,000 additional funds. As part of that, we also were awarded a study where the legislative, there's a committee within the legislature and the government finance committee that will be doing a study prior to the next biennium. And the purpose of the study is to look at urban transit, come up with suggestions on where we can find a more long-term dedicated source of funding in North Dakota. And there will be different parties at the table, North Dakota DOT, the urban transits, any legislators. So we've already started outreach to them and we have started pulling the data together. We're not sure exactly what they're going to be looking for, but our understanding on the timeline is that they will start their initial meetings late August into September. And it seems to be a little vague on what the actual process entails, but we did specifically request a seat at the table so we can work hand in hand with the legislators to come up with something. So we were happy to get the additional funding and we're happy to get the study and really hoping that we can get something identified long term.
Okay, questions or comments? Anybody needs a little more caffeine?
There you go. Yeah.
All right, guys. So let's see. Okay, we're going to give Julie a break and Jordan is going to talk to us about the driver transition update.
Yeah, thank you. So, earlier this year, we had the driver transition from contractor employees to City of Fargo employees approved. So I have kind of outlined here in the memo, kind of what our timeline looks like for that. So just to highlight some of the high points on here, we are going to try to request from TransDev an extension of their contract for 4 days, just so that it lines up with the City of Fargo payroll easier, and we can start people on the start of a pay period. That we could potentially see some cost savings with that, just because it is technically pay period 2 for 2025, but then at the end of the year, the way the City of Fargo does it is they'll shift costs back to 2025 from what went into 26. So there might not be a whole lot there, but it would start on pay period 2 in 2026. So pre-employment requirements, we would do, Fargo Cass Public Health is planning to do all the pre-employment physicals. So that'll help us out there. We will try to have conditional offers to the drivers by November 1st. So starting in November, we'll do all those pre-employment physicals and get those out of the way. So any issues that would help us to resolve those issues before start date in January. Drug screens will have to be done within 30 days. So those won't start until the beginning of December. And then have those done within 30 days of employment. We plan to do some pre-orientation, pre-employment orientation sessions with the drivers, current contractor drivers, just to answer questions on pay and benefits, leave time, anything that they have. I know there's a lot of questions from the drivers out there, and I think the more information we can give them, the sooner the better. That way they can make decisions on where they want to seek employment, whether it be with us or transitive somewhere else or something completely different. So we have for our timeline, like I said, we plan to have job postings out here late July, early August, so people can start applying for those positions. October 1st, plan to have conditional offers to more of the management staff. November 1st would be conditional offers to the driver, and then we would start all that pre-employment, health screening, drug tests, background. Hopefully first employment City of Fargo on Monday, January 5th. So we are moving along. HR is working well with us and getting all the positions graded and all that's finished. So they're getting the job descriptions and everything built in NeoGov so that we can get them out and get them posted. So it's moving along, going well so far. So questions or comments, I'm happy to answer what I can.
I do have a question. Given some of in the context of some of the challenges we're having right now, I don't think we actually fully discussed this before. Now that all of the drivers are becoming City of Fargo employees, what control do we still have over number of drivers? So is that still something that is decided within, or, again, imagine that if all the drivers are City of Fargo employees and they decide we only need half as many drivers that we currently have, what's the decision-making process right now that would ensure that we still maintain the number that we feel is necessary to keep the routes going?
Yeah, so what we've done internally is looked at how many drivers currently are needed to provide the service, and how many picks that they have for their routes. And we have decided that with the current level of service, we would need 81 drivers. Since then, we have reduced, or we're proposing to reduce industrial park on-demand service and also eliminate, for now, Route 16. So that would be roughly a reduction of probably 3 drivers that we wouldn't need. So I think right now we're about 78, 79 drivers that we would propose going forward. If there were additional requests for reductions in service, that number of drivers the need would go down. So, I mean, that's just kind of been an internal discussion between our staff on how many drivers we feel like we need to provide the service that is being requested to be out there. So.
Yeah. Because I'm just thinking in terms of being in other organizations, one way to, when you're in a financial crisis is just to, if you can cut your payroll and even if some people are working overtime, but you may not be paying other benefits and, that you would have with a separate employee. And so, just thinking about that I would hate to get in that position because we would have been short drivers for a long time if we then start to make cuts that aren't necessarily aligned with what we need to continue the routes that we have.
Yeah, and we feel the number that we've given them right now would provide us ample drivers so that we can not overwork people, have enough people to cover for vacations and sick leave and medical leaves. And there's some part-time positions built in there too. So we'd have the flexibility of those part-time people to fill in for that type of stuff. So as of right now, I think we're in a good position. And if there were, like I said, if there are any more suggestions for route cuts or even, putting service back and not cutting certain routes, we would obviously communicate to the best of our ability that we need additional people to do that, right? So, and that goes with the future too. If, certain entities want additional service, you know, it would come with an additional FTEs to be able to provide that service. So, I mean, that obviously would be the additional cost involved with the service, so.
Yeah, I just have a quick question. Kind of going back to the budget stuff. When you guys, so you presented your transit budget, you know, we had talked about that at kind of previous meetings, but when you met with the commissioners, did they require you to present additional cuts? The transit budget?
They required us to provide what the impacts would be of any additional cuts. So we did put that together.
Okay.
And what we put together was information regarding each route, how many folks it serves, you know, and are they interlined with other routes? Will it impact another route if you make adjustment to that route? What the economic impact would be, what the makeup of the folks living in those areas would be, and what the impact would be not only to the other entities, so Moorhead, NDSU, and West Fargo, but it also would be what implications does it have to revenue collection and federal funding. So all of that was presented to them and discussed and explained in painful detail. So yes, but that's not, they know we don't support route cuts or adjustments. They're very clear on that. So what's going on as far as discussions behind closed doors, I don't know, but that is what we had to give them.
Right.
Yeah.
But you should know by, I guess, right, kind of what.
July 28th and
July, they're supposed to be doing.
budget presentations, so.
And I did send our presentation to Megan. I didn't realize she was out till, yeah. So I can send it to you if you'd like.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Yeah, it shows you kind of what we, not kind of, it shows you what we covered. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
And there were some additional reductions and some costs that did not relate to route cuts that we kind of threw out there for
Okay.
if they would like to see additional cuts that we could possibly make. So, I mean, one of them was moving our transfer station from West Acres to Walmart. Saves us rent at West Acres and security costs at West Acres. So it's something that doesn't reduce service. It just kind of changes the way we operate, but can also reduce costs. So, and those would be costs that are split between everybody, so it would reduce everyone's costs. Yeah, not just Fargo's portion of the cost. So there were a couple of those that we did throw out there as a menu item that they can choose if they want, so.
Were the near-term cuts that you mentioned, in the packet, were those part of what was included in that, like as possible, like the Sunday prayer transit?
Those were part of the numbers that we gave them for the original 2026 budget discussions. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Any other discussion? Okay, then moving along. Cole, talk to us about the safety and security.
Thank you. So I believe I mentioned this when we had our last coordination committee meeting. Our contracted security staff was going to be doing additional documentation of smaller incidents that were happening with the GPC to kind of give a full picture of everything that's been going on. The last couple of months, we haven't received, quite as many as this in years. So this includes any safety or security event from last month as well as the month before then. So just encourage everybody to kind of take a look through there to see everything that's going on with the GTC and along bus routes. I will say, kind of like I did last time too, that our current security staff with signal security has been great to work with. There have been many incidents that have occurred that they've been able to de-escalate, which we didn't really have previous to them. Received compliments from staff as well, both dispatchers and road supervisors about, them being professional and being able to deal with those situations without necessarily having to contact law enforcement to get them involved. The only other thing that I have on top of that, and I don't know exactly what they're called, but there have been a couple of patrols by Fargo PD on their new segways or whatever that is to GTC. So yeah, we've seen some pretty good improvement. Kind of with anything around the GTC, you're still going to have incidents and things that need to be addressed, but we're working with both our contracted security as well as local law enforcement to deal with things that pop up.
Comments, questions?
I know one of the suggestions made when we had a conversation earlier this week, and we could talk to Robin at Public Health, but they have what they call, we think they're called Sharpie vaults or.
Yeah, well, there's sharps, some of them are called Sharps vaults, or I'm trying to think of what the other name for it is. but
Yeah, yeah.
And it's basically, it's so, yeah, I think it's that, I mentioned this because of, if you read, one of the incidents was somebody reaching into a Sharps container trying to get a used syringe. And so, you would have to ask Robin Litkisal, but they did have some and I'm not sure where they placed them, but, it is a more secure standalone, container that can be used for sharps. And so it doesn't have to be mounted on a wall or anything like that, but that seems to me that or somewhere near the GTC might be a very good place for it. So. Yeah, I think other Sharps kiosk or Sharps vault, I think.
Oh,
I think kiosk would be here, but it's usually Sharps vault, I think is what they. Great. Okay, then we have our last informational item. We'll provide a quarterly ridership update, and everyone should have gotten a handout with some updated information for you.
Thank you. So this is just gonna be a ridership update comparing the first 2 quarters of 2025 to the first 2 quarters of 2024. So Route 1 in Moorhead that serves 8th Street and 5th Street, goes north and south on those, is down 11% these 2 quarters. Route 2 in Moorhead, which serves 11th Street and 14th Street, kind of by MSUM, up 3%. Route 3 in Moorhead, which goes from the Marriott north up to Target and Cashwise, excuse me, up 3%. Route 4 in Moorhead, which serves North Moorhead from GTC all the way over to Dilworth Walmart, pretty steady with a 1% increase. Route 5 in Moorhead, which serves the area south of 94, has a 13% increase. Route 6 in Dilworth up 21%. And Route 9 in Moorhead that serves the 34th Street north and south between kind of Menards down south in Sanford up to the Dilworth Walmart is up. They're down 10%. Any questions about any Moorhead or Dilworth routes? On the Fargo side, Route 11, which goes from GTC to North Fargo, using Broadway up to like the VA area, is up 29%. Route 13, which goes north and south in Fargo from downtown, it goes north and south on 10th Street and University, up 36%. Route 14, which goes from GTC down to 32nd Avenue, back up to West Acres, is up 11%. Route 15 is our most popular route that goes between GTC and West Acres using 13th Avenue South, is down 2%. Route 16, which goes between downtown and West Acres, also using 17th Avenue South, 3%. Route 17, pardon, which goes between downtown and Whale of a Wash, the Madison neighborhood, and serves the New Life Centers, up 4%. And Route 18, which goes from downtown down 25th Street over on 32nd down all the way down to the 52nd Walmart, down 2%. The West Fargo side, Route 20, which serves West Fargo, goes west past the police department and the high rise, and then back on 13th Avenue, up 15%. Route 24, it serves the Sanford Medical Center and over by the West Fargo City Hall, down 2%. And our Fargo Industrial On Demand, our micro transit service that goes between 2 pickup points at West Acres and Whale of a Wash Shelter and the Fargo Industrial Park is steady at
with the 2% increase there. Any questions on any Fargo or West Fargo routes? Little information on the NDSU routes. So Route 32 was discontinued last fall. So figures under the system totals do include ridership from Route 32 from quarters 1 and 2 in 2024, but I don't have that listed on that top row there. So just a little piece, but in 2024 Route 32 did have 40,000 rides. And some of that has shifted to Route 31 this year. You see an increase of 184% there. And some of it has just gone away completely. Route 33, which serves NDSU between campus and the downtown campuses like Klein, Berry Hall, is down 24%. Route 34, which serves some campus housing and NDSU campus and NDSCS, down 11%. And the NDSU on demand is up 81%. It's a very popular service, and they added morning on demand service as a kind of an aid to the people that would have used 32 in the morning. That only ran the first semester. I guess that wouldn't be included. Never mind. Sorry. It's just very popular. Any questions on the NDSU routes and on demand services? So system-wide, in Moorhead, we're up 4.6%. In Fargo, we're down 5.4%. And for the total system, Fargo, West Fargo, Dilworth, and Moorhead, we're down 2.3% for the first 2 quarters. Paratransit, for the first 2 quarters, we are up 6.5%. And any questions on any of that?
Do you have one question? So how are we again compared to pre-pandemic?
I think overall, system-wide, we're still down
Still
a
down.
bit. But yeah, I could, if you wanted some concrete numbers, I could.
No, that's okay. Okay. Other questions or comments?
And I did have some information about our UPass ridership.
Oh,
All the college students can run free with their student IDs. NDSU, I know for the previous quarter, they had an issue with some of their ID cards not reporting, so not working. So our numbers might not be perfect there, but there is that decrease in ridership since the loss of Route 32, but they're down 20%. MSUM UPass ridership's up 22%. Concordia down 22%, and N State is down 37%. So our UPass ridership numbers compared to last year are down 18%. Any questions about UPass ridership?
do you have one last question? Just looking at, so overall, we're for the whole system down 2.3%. And we have cut some routes, right? So do you think, is it that it's really fewer people riding overall? It's like, and if we were to take out what we lost from some of those routes, would that sort of account for it? Or do you think that, also in general people, so with the fewer people?
A big chunk of that is from Route 32. It had 40,000 rides, and some of that shifted, about 15,000 rides shifted to Route 31. So
Okay.
we're still left over with about 25,000. So that accounts for a big chunk of it.
That would, yeah, would put us over even. So if it hadn't been maybe for that route cut, we could have seen an increase, but since we lost.
It's possible.
Yeah, okay. Good to know. Mhm. All right, thank you for all the information for our informational items. Our last item would just be if we have citizens who wish to address the audience, and ma'am, if you do have things you'd like to say, usually this is not a back and forth, but if you have some things you'd like to tell us briefly, then feel free to.
Well, I
In a
did,
couple minutes.
I'm glad you brought up that Sunday paratransit service. Because I did some research and it says that started November 15th, 2015. Is that correct? You've been running it for 10 years?
So this isn't an opportunity for
No,
us to
but-
go back and forth and we wouldn't, but if you
But I
have
have a-
specific questions, we can get back to you, but we may not have answers to you, right? Like I don't have any idea.
But what I have a concern about, when Julie told the mayor, you're averaging 11 riders. How do you justify the cost for 11 riders? I mean, I think you're doing the right thing to eliminate it. And if you take a look at all the other TDPs, Sunday service has been the #1 request for fixed route. So I don't know, I guess, you don't even want to attempt that. So again, I totally support eliminating paratransit, and I just can't see where you justify the cost to run this as it is. I think it's for money management. And then there's another thing. I went to your website and also on your, was on the mayor, which said to the mayor's commission, this public comment and fair service changes. It talks about temporary. The word temporary isn't defined. Now, for the last 3 years, all this was temporary. These were all these road things we went through. I mean, it changes almost every other week, every 2 weeks. And that's why you lose ridership. So what's the definition of temporary? And also, Route 16, I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm totally against eliminating that. You know, you got the brand new high rise coming there. It's gonna have over 100 apartments for low income people. They're gonna need bus service. Where are you gonna get bus service to pick these people up and take them anyplace? You know, before the high rise had good ridership. So, I mean, I think that should be reconsidered, and I think you should eliminate Route 17. I still think you can give West Fargo service without, you know, it still would be the same, wouldn't it? But, you know, I say keep 16. I can't help it. I mean, you know, it goes back to when it was Route 6. It's been part of fixed route for years and years and years. And, you know, why ruin a good thing? Maybe if you can adjust a little bit, but still, I still see these people needing bus service.
Well, thank you. We do really appreciate your feedback, and I took notes, and I'm sure the staff too, and particularly even just some of the language things for clarification, but thank you very much.
Yep.
Are there any other items to come before the committee? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Our next meeting is August 20th. And if you hadn't marked your calendars, remember, even though we didn't need it today, now our chat time has changed from, we would be 9 to 10:30. For those times when we just will take longer, but it's nice to finish early today. Have a good morning, everybody.
Thank you.